Hello. Rant time. This might be a topic that you really don't give a flying rat's ass about, which is fine, because I'm going to talk about mental health and influences. Now, we've been very depressed about the AI thing, and there's been, 60, 70,000 clicks on the video, and gotten a lot of comments. And if you want to, I will go into it again, because I have seen a certain trend in the comments, and I've got a lot to say, and I've learned from comments and other people sharing it on Facebook, LinkedIn. So there's new insights. So if you want me to talk about AI music again, I will. Let me know in the comments. We talked about launch campaigns and influencers being paid, and that's really not a bad thing, because that's what we do. And then the product came out, Tonex plug, yay. It's really good. And then the comments still came in because those people didn't watch the video, and then Landon Bailey's video got spammed with, oh, you're just a shit. Okay, fine. Today we're talking about influencers and why some of them, not all of them, might have some issues. Now, I can only talk about the guitar bubble, because I don't know other bubbles. I don't know makeup. I personally only use a little bit. Can't talk about the tech stuff. Can't talk about cars or whatever. I do assume up to a certain point it is probably happening in all walks of influencing. Maybe not Instagram that much, because here's what's happening. Within the guitar bubble, I am pretty knowledgeable of a lot of channels and the people and how they work and how they are as people, because I have this little YouTube event every year called 42 Gear Street, and before I had other events, so I'm rather well connected in this world. My friend Michiel and I, he's over there on the couch, who sometimes might yell, yep, stuff like that. We have done these events for a long time, and we've met many influencers and had to, cancel some of them coming to events, or they canceled on us. So we have some insight in this world. And I also talk to influencer relations people, the people from Sweetwater, the people from Troman, the people from Andertons, people whose job it is to connect and work on a business level with influencers. And here's the rub. Some influencers are fragile. Fragile. Isn't it an album by someone? Fragile. Yes. Is it yes? Yes, fragile. I'm saying it's yes, probably. It's not the point. And the question is, and when I talk to these influencer relations people, they're all like, yeah, that guy's nuts. That's not fair to say, but this guy's more difficult to work with. We never hear from him. What happened to this guy? Why don't we get a response? So one thing I noticed, which has nothing to do with mental health, is that most influencers really have like one particular way in which they will respond to you. And it's really my job as the event coordinator, along with Michiel. He luckily takes over a lot more responsibilities lately, so I've got to do less. Thank you. Finding out how to contact someone. Now, some people will absolutely not respond to Facebook Messenger, whereas others only respond to Facebook Messenger. Some people email, forget about it. Glenn, email, screw it. Some people will only respond to iMessage, but they will respond pretty solidly. Some people, you actually got to call. If you don't call them, nothing's going to happen. So everyone's got their own thing. One really big guitar guy, can't tell you who, will not respond anywhere, but respond pretty much within 2 hours when you write him a LinkedIn message, which is really the last way you would ever communicate with anyone, but that's how you get to that guy. So I learned all these things. And throughout the years, we had people come here, or I met people, and with some, only some, there's a pattern. There's a pattern of depression, and some have openly talked about it, right? Some of my friends have openly talked about it in videos on Facebook and so on. It's a good idea to openly talk about depression and say, look, I have this. If you notice anything, I might need help. And obviously, actually BetterHelp asked me, hey, can we sponsor a video? Don't really, no. Let's stay away from that. If you do need help, go get professional help. There's helplines, there's doctors, there's later, medication and so on. What does Leslie want? Sending me dog pics. Great. I mean, hey, that helps against depression for sure. Others have anxiety. Burnout is a big thing on YouTube. Others have ADHD. That has really nothing to do with YouTube, but it's something that will definitely get in your way when you're trying to get shit done. And getting shit done is really the problem here. Now let's look at who is attracted to the job that I do and that my colleagues do. Now when it is a hobby, it's all good. You make a video whenever you want to make a video. Michiel made videos, and at some point it was but now I have to do a video, right? And then it became no fun because you got to feed the channel. So you do it as a hobby. I got some guitars, I got some amps. I like to talk about this stuff. I kind of like the interaction with the community. I like to be recognized for doing something. This is all a good feeling. But then you have to make the next video. Even if you do one a week, even if you do one a month, even if you do one a year, well, then it's a regularity that you have to bring. Well, one a year wouldn't be too smart. Even one a week can be a chore. This video right here, I mean, I'm not crying about it. It's one camera and I'm just yapping away. But even this video needs to be done before Sunday morning at 10, because it's a regular thing now. I can't just put a pedal video here. So during Gear Street and stuff, all of a sudden there were 2-3 Sundays where I didn't have anything. This regularity puts pressure on you. Boo-hoo, other people work in the salt mines. Absolutely, there's much worse jobs in the world. But when you do it as a hobby, it's all fun and games. You do it whenever you want to, you buy a new pedal, and you talk about it. You might at some point actually get pedals or amps or guitars sent from companies. Oh, that's great. But then you are in the Bringschuld, as we say in German. Then you are kind of indebted to them for having to deliver a certain quality of content at a certain point in time, and then there's a deadline. And all of a sudden, the thing that you do for fun is a bit of a you gotta do it. And that turns from I wanna to I gotta. A lot of people don't have a problem with that, if it's once in a while, right? Now, if what you really want happens as an influencer, which is you gather some success, channel grows, clicks come in, there's some YouTube money, some companies send you gear, some companies offer payment. That's great, right? That's really cool. Well, what if what attracted you to that job, to that task, let's call it that, was that you could do it whenever the fuck you wanted? What if that the thing that attracted you was that you didn't have to do it? It was just for fun. What if what you hated about your job, the job that you want to leave behind in an office, in a factory, whatever job you had, was that you had a boss, that you had a deadline, that you had to work with colleagues, human interaction. Can't see you, but she was like, yep, that can be an issue. All the social norms that we have to abide by. To some people, we don't want to go outside of the house and be nice to fucking Karen and, wait till 5 o'clock. Most people don't want that. We don't want to have a deadline set by the boss. In Michiel's case, he was the guy setting the deadlines, actually. So that's the better job to have. But then he also probably had a boss that he had to tell to why he set that deadline and justify that. right? Yeah, of course. So, all these things that are, well, that's what life is. Life. Some people would like to get away from that life. Contracts, negotiations, the email back and forth, the hitting the deadline, the screwing up, then being called on it by the person that paid you and saying you said this in a video, but that's actually not right. The amp is not plastic, it's actually metal, and then making a huge thing about it. And then you're on the phone for hours justifying it, editing things out of videos because you screwed up. Sometimes you screw up. In this case, I screwed up. Lava amp, for example. So all these things are the reasons many people are drawn to, let's make YouTube videos. And that is fine for a bit. But at some point, you could possibly live off of it. So you leave your job behind and you're happy. No more 5 o'clock, sleep in. I don't sleep in. Can't, I have too much to do. We'll get to that. And make some videos, get some payment, and it's all good. But then you realize, I have bills, I have health insurance, I'm self-employed now, oh fuck. I don't know where my money is coming from next month, and what about my retirement money? There's no retirement money, there's no retirement fund anymore, all that. And all of a sudden, pressure starts mounting on your shoulders. Boo, influences with pressure. Yeah, okay, it's still all fun and games for those who can stomach that weight on their shoulders. But all of a sudden, at some point, reality sets in, and as a self-employed influencer, there are almost the same things, pressures that you had in your office job or factory job. Slightly different, but there are these things all of a sudden catching up with you because you got to deliver certain content at a certain point in time. It might be a product launch, it might be even just an ad read or whatever it is, but it's got to be there, right? You have to do it. It's not whenever, no, it's at this point in time. That's when you get paid. That's when you have to write an invoice. It's paperwork. That's where you have to put the right address on it and ask them in an email about the address. That's where you got to put the VAT number on it. That's where you got to deal with your tax accountant about paying the taxes, which before was just actually done by your employer and everything was fine. Now you got to deal with the taxes. You're taking all this money, but you got to actually give the VAT back to the government, but then I made all this money, but actually not all this money is mine. Actually, only about half is mine. Oh, damn it. So, you got to deal with that bullshit. You got to all of a sudden deal with health insurance that you got to pay for yourself and maybe retirement insurance that you got to pay for yourself. And then there's the deadlines. Then there's maybe the boss, which could be seen as whatever company you're working with, finding an issue in a video. And then you got to report to your boss. I mean, it depends on what kind of relationship you have with the companies, but it could happen. And all of a sudden, all the reasons. Here's another one, human interaction. Well, a lot of us go to trade shows, gatherings, guitar festivals, NAMs, whatever, and have to interact with colleagues that do the same job and with the bosses, the paying companies, who we want on our side. And we have to do the social thing. We have to not spill sauce all over us when we go out and eat. We have to make polite conversation, etc., etc. So all these things that these influencers try to get away from, all of a sudden are back in their lives. But with possibly even more pressure than when you did it at the job, because it's your responsibility now. If you don't deliver, your paycheck is not there. If I screw up at work, I still get my paycheck, but the boss is mad at me. There's some wiggle room. Here, this is all on the influencer. And I said before, well, maybe not so much with Instagram. I'm saying that Instagram content or short form content is exactly that. It is shorter. So it requires less filming, less editing. Some people make amazing short form content. If you look at Carlos Asensio, his shorts are really well done. There's so much work in them. And of course, others in the guitar world, but oftentimes it can be done with a phone, some decent audio setup, and there's your short form content. So the pressure there is possibly a bit less. Things are binging. So it's possibly a bit less. And what was I going to say? Peter Urban freaked me out there. But it's still there. And if you don't do review stuff like I did, I talked about that at some point in a rant, and you have to actually come up with fun content. I just watched a video where a guy teaches an octopus to play piano. And this guy did 1,000 picks on a guitar, or a guitar with a revolving neck. He builds these things, engineering marvels. It's got 1.6 million subs. Michael Krantz? So whatever, I don't know. The guy has to come up with the next viral video. And that's a whole different pressure if you're dependent on social media payouts. If you don't have a sponsor, but you have YouTube money that you're hoping. So the video might not do well. You spend a month training an octopus to play piano, and then nobody fucking clicks on your video. Your Beato, who has these interviews and they do super, super well, and hey, here's money, here's, I don't know, $10,000 from this video. But all of a sudden, the next video where he went somewhere in the world with the team filming and so on, nobody cares about that interview, and all of a sudden that money isn't there, but he was kind of looking forward to it. So if you're dependent on the social media money, then you might be shit out of luck. Now what I do, I also get paid. I get a little bit of social media money, but I also get paid by the brands and some affiliate money. There isn't just like this one horse that I bet everything on. But this is all pressure. I always say, why have I not burned out yet? I made over 4,000 videos in 13 years. I always say, don't have time to burn out. I'm way too busy. It is now Saturday night, 6 o'clock, and that's the third video I'm working on today. And tomorrow's Sunday, and I gotta work on videos. Just talked to Ibanez about the news for next year. I saw them. Nice! They're gonna send them, but they have to have them back by December 1st. So, gotta do a rush job in 3 days. It's a nice paycheck, but again, pressure. But I'm too busy to burn out. I literally cannot afford to not want to work. Sometimes we want to work a bit less, but I can't afford it. Some people don't have that choice. Their brain simply says, I cannot work right now or I'm going to throw up. And some people have anxiety. So they're constantly anxious about, is the next job coming in? What's the competition doing? Why do they get the video and why don't I get it? I have that anxiety as well. But they might be so anxious, they have so much anxiety that they can't leave the house. They're borderline agoraphobic or fully agoraphobic. That's a word, right? Agoraphobic? That's not the one with the spiders. That's a different one. I know. So, do you have the spider one? No? I have the spider one. Ew. I also don't like to leave the house. I like this room. It's a nice room, right? It's working. Cool. Playing off each other. Where was I? Yeah. But, I'm okay just sitting here doing the videos. Stevie T, he did the Better Help video. He talks about his mental health, and he is not necessarily agoraphobic, but he went on a plane once to go to Nam, absolutely hated it, lives in Canada, doesn't really interact with too many people, but then of course some people need to interact. So Stevie T makes a shit ton of money, big channel, right? Makes a shit ton of money. Is he happy? I don't know. Can he go outside? Not that much. Used the money to buy himself a McLaren, because he makes a shit ton of money from YouTube. Can't even drive it. So, I don't know. Is that happy? I can talk about Jared Dines talked about sadness, depression, the comments. If you can't handle the comments, you got a channel with 3 million people or more, and you can't handle the comments. That is depressing. That is heavy. Getting shit comments. I mean, every day I get shit comments. And you got to be able to stand that. And then he talked about burnout and not letting things get to you. He made some very nice posts about it and just giving some other influencers some hope from someone who's been through it. But it seems that many are like that. I know that I have many friends, not many friends, but I have friends that are battling with anxiety, with burnout, with depression. We had some guy that was supposed to come to Gear Street and then shortly before that canceled because he just drove for too long coming home from vacation and all of a sudden couldn't do it, couldn't handle it, to be among people. Okay? In a way, that's got to be part of the job, because you got to get the jobs, and then you get the jobs from people. The next year we invited again, and all of a sudden, in our little chat, there was a complete blowout. Just completely freaking out about why he's not getting paid, and I'm getting paid for it, but nobody else is getting paid. And before anyone could even answer, he just was getting more and more into it, and just kind of yelling at himself and us, but didn't wait anyone's response. And before anyone could respond, and the responses were all super nice in defense of me and all that, he was out of the chat. I'm not coming. I'm not doing this. This is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. You could see how he was spiraling. I always say it's like, how have I not gone down the road of depression, burnout, anxiety? Because it seems to be a thing in our world, and possibly in other sectors of influencing as well. And I always jokingly say, I'm too busy to get burnout, which of course is very stupid to say. It's not something you can control. But to my fellow influencers out there, what I think helps is join some groups, WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever. We have a group where we all talk privately, and we've shared things like depression, it's too much, what are you going to do, burnout, and all these things. And we talk about it and try to help each other, because in this job, you can't go down the street to the next corner store and talk to, Babette about who does your thumbnails, because I can't stand making thumbnails anymore. So it's good to have a support network. It's sad that one person who went out of the chat, who we were going to bring into our family and give a support network, didn't give himself the chance to do that. But it is what it is. And every year, Michiel over there, who you can't see, says at Gear Street, the only problem with Gear Street is the YouTubers. Can't we just not do it without the YouTubers? Well, it's kind of difficult to do a YouTube event without the YouTubers. But he has dealt with some less difficult, but then some more difficult characters, let's call it that way, and gets annoyed by it, because things that sometimes should be common sense in how to interact with people, how to book something, how to book a hotel, and, then there are questions where you go like, how do you even function? Now, there are completely other people. I spread that out weirdly. She said. Like my friend Dan Kaminsky. Now, Dan comes from the TV world, where he was a producer. And this is a world of high stress, high responsibility, deadlines, reporting to bosses, all that stuff, paperwork, interacting with people. He is known. He knows this world. He didn't get into YouTube to get away from it. And he's going through the YouTube job now with the same strength and determination that he showed in his TV job. Our dear friend that we miss tragically, Mike Milton, who sadly passed away a few years ago. Mike also quit his job in not real estate. He did like inspections of buildings and stuff like this. But he had those skills, and he didn't stop that because he didn't like that job anymore. And so he functioned in this world. But there are some people who never functioned in the real world and thought that in the YouTube influencer world or Instagram, whatever, you could escape that world. And my warning to all the kids or the elderly or whoever out there who think you can get into influencing or content creating, because it gets you away from the offices and the contracts and the bosses and the deadlines and the interacting with people and all that stuff. It might at first. But if that happens that you want to happen, which is you're successful at it, all that stuff's going to come pouring back in and you might crash and burn. So just know that all this responsibility that you're trying to get away from comes with this job as well. Am I crying about it? Am I complaining? Absolutely not. It's part of the job. Half my day is emails and invoices and tax stuff and filling out tax forms, W-8-BENs for international affiliation programs or whatever. It's all business crap. The reason why you might want to get into it, which is playing with cool guitar gear, is if anything, 10%. Michiel, 10%? He's been here for 2 days. How much have I held a guitar? Once. He's trying to do this completely quiet. Good. Once. And a bass. Because I filmed a video. There I actually have to hold a guitar. But that's about it. So yeah, if you're getting into that because of that, that's the wrong reason. And again, I think this applies to other areas as well. Whether it's beauty, makeup, cars, hobby, train sets, Legos, whatever, tech, phones, camera. At some point, the real world will also come down on that job. Just know that. You have to have the thick skin that every other person in the working world has to have, because a job is a job is a job. There's a tiny window where the YouTube thing is taking off, you're reducing your job, this is all nice and fun and games, and then you realize, oh, I gotta make money with this, and I gotta do this, and taxes, and attorneys, and blah, blah, blah. Yep. So, wait. Okay. Tell the screen not to turn off. And now the boat's back on. We're watching the boat. That's a different story. So, Michiel, some final words? Nope. How funny would it have been if there's actually no Michiel? Like if he just doesn't exist, that's not actually a guy. That would have been some pretty snazzy acting on my part, right? But look. What the?
You ruined it. That was going to be my joke for in the comments.
I ruined it.
Cut this out.
Exposed him.
Can we now do the entire video with commentary?
Okay, that's it. Make of that as you will. Wasn't me crying about that this is a real job, just saying that some people do struggle with it, and I understand why. And to all my fellow creators, influencers, the ones that are in my life, I love you all. If you ever need to talk to me for whatever reason, you know how to get a hold of me, please do. Okay? And animals at the
Loony bin.
Loony bin.
I guess that's just married life. Small imperfections amount to sublime. To There's no one I'd rather have here by my side. I guess it's just married life. The sinker's clock